Hey everyone, this is Cece, and those of you that don't know me, I'm Cece Shatz, and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And today we're going to be doing Chick's Passion and with Bella Marie. But Bella Marie had a flooding in her house, I believe it is, in water and whatnot, and so she's having to have people come to her home to try to siphon the water out her, and so it's been really bad for her. So I'm not sure if she's going to be able to make it today or not, but because we had went ahead and scheduled the show, I didn't want to disappoint those of you out there. So what I'm going to talk about is we're going to talk a little bit about our inner strength, and especially being a woman, I think that is so important because I think we do have this special inner strength that we carry with us. You know, we go through our lives as being very young, moving forward into our teenage and young adult years, and then we go on to have children and we raise them, and we do a lot of different things. So now women are in the workforce. We are 100% equally a partner with our mate. And we hold a lot of normal responsibilities, I would say household responsibilities, along with working responsibilities, which they didn't do years ago. And so women today have really stepped up and made themselves I mean, I don't know. You know, I hate to say that. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to take that back. Can I do a redo? Because I don't think we've made ourselves the way we are. I think what happens is that we have evolved. And so I think that's so important. And so before we go on with this topic, and if Bella comes in, then we'll switch it out. But I wanted to share with you who I am, because those of you maybe have no idea. I am Cece Shatz. I'm the doyen of relationship building. I really help those come from relationship loss, one way or the other, whether it be by death or by divorce. Recovery is kind of my specialty. And then that transition, transforming you into this new person that you're going to become, because as we said, we keep evolving into this the single life that you're stepping into. And so I help those adjust to that, to be comfortable in the skin they're in, and most of all to really love the life that they have. And I encourage them to seek other partners, seek friends, but also most importantly become the best person they can within themselves and be comfortable with that. And so that is what I am all about. I have developed WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are a singles talk station. We specialize in helping singles being able to be the best that they can be and be comfortable with who they are. And we hope that by doing this, they will raise their vibration to another level, and they will eventually, seek a partner that is so equally wonderful for them. And so that's what it's all about. We have great shows here on the network, and I'm going to move forward into our topic because I love it. I think it's going to be really good. I came across an article which I thought was really cool, and it is let me see it. Let's go here to it. It's really about strengthening yourself. And so it talks about 10 ways to build your inner strength. And I think not only for women, because I am a woman, I feel this is very important, but I also think men have this special inner strength about them. I mean, we as women, we look towards our man as being the rock, right? We want to be able to feel that no matter what happens around the world around us, that he is there. He's going to be there to support us, to be able to understand what's happening, and to really be that person. That's a big burden we put on these guys, isn't it? It's a big responsibility. And so what I'm saying is I think we all need to build that inner strength within ourselves. And so women, as we have progressed through the generations of time, right, moving forward into being who we are today, which we are, so wonderfully a partner to someone else. And if we're not, we stand rock steady, fast within ourselves and within our core of who we are. But then we move forward into this workforce, into this this field that used to be where the men are, and now women are so predominantly there, and equally so. Women and men are both highly intelligent, although we do handle things a lot differently. And so I think that building our inner strength really makes us strong and makes us become who we really truly are. So we've got 10 topics here, 10 items that I'm going to kind of run over with you, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, because I love being with you. But I want to make sure you get this and you understand it. So again, the subject is 10 ways to build your inner strength. And so the number one way is look back on your survival instincts. Have you ever really, had a difficult time in your life, right? And we all do. We all have difficult things that happen to our life. And so when we look back on those times when we've actually overcome those, when we look back on those, we think to ourselves, what gave us that inner strength to be able to move forward? What propelled us to be able to move through some of those hard and dark times? For me, I think it's my family. I know that when I was going through my divorce, it was a very dark, lonely, deep time for myself, really trying to figure out who I was. I have spent most of my life with somebody. I came from a very large family, 6 kids in my family, so it was a very noisy household. I went on to get married right out of high school. Then I have 5 kids of my own, again, very noisy household. And then when I finally reached to this area where I'm at now, then I found myself alone, and I didn't know how I was going to handle that. And so I had to really dig deep within myself to try to figure out, how am I going to have that strength to be able to move forward? How can I build up those instincts within myself to be able to move forward? And so see the strength of your own abilities and your fighting power. I thought that was a really tough, a very significant statement to really understand your resilience that you have. Sometimes we can move mountains if we choose to move them, right? We can make things happen if we choose to do that. And we can have that belief that that's going to happen to us. So I think that's very, very important, is to understand that you do have those instincts of survival. And so we can make it happen. So whenever you're down into the depths of really being in a difficult moment, in a dark place within yourself, understand that you do have that strength from within to be able to move forward. The next thing is trust your inner pilot, your core. A lot of times when we're going through really tough times, our world is rocked. We start questioning all around us. We start wondering, are we capable of doing this? Who's going to love us? Can we be loved? Why are these things happening to us? But then when we start really understanding the core of ourselves, we start realizing that, we are really a great human being. We really have what it takes. And so when we start understanding that a little bit more, that makes it very helpful for us to be able to go through life a little bit better. So what I'm asking you to do is really start understanding your core. And so often people ask me, well, what is your core? Your core is really the spirit of yourself. What is important to you? What are some of the things that are important to you? What are your weaknesses? I've just recently told my son, you can't overcome a weakness if you don't realize you have it. And there's nothing wrong with being weak in some areas in your life. And so when you understand the weaknesses that you have in your life, you can overcome them. Most of you probably don't know that I have a bit of dyslexic. And so when I get stressed out, it really overcomes me. I really have a hard time with it. Well, I remember growing up, I didn't even know I had this. I didn't realize and a lot of people are a lot more severe, I think, than what I am. But we get things backwards, forward, it just seemed like things were getting screwed up for me. And so I had to concentrate very, very hard. And so I remember, we took typing classes in school and everything. And when I went on to work with a wonderful attorney in St. Pete here, and was just a wonderful man, and is now passed. And I know we all miss him deeply. But I remember I would be typing, you know, and he would talk and I would do the transcriptions, you know, but there were certain words that I constantly and mentally transposed differently. And it was just the mind going through doing that. Well, I realized I had that weakness. So of course I had to go back in and proofread those to make sure that I would get those things like it was one of them that I would transpose the T and the I, you know, and I used to type 100 words a minute. So that's quite fast. And so, you know, you just zoom through it. But I knew I had that weakness. Didn't make me a bad person for having it. It just made a little bit more time for me to be able to go back and proofread it. And I tell you what, joy on his face when he came back. One day I came into the office and he was so happy to show me this. He wanted to show me. He couldn't wait to show me. And I'm like, what? What is this? What do you want to show me? And he comes in and he goes, I have spell check for you. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, but he understood that I had a problem, and it wasn't necessarily that I wasn't smart enough to realize it. It's just something that would happen to me. And so he liked the work that I put out. He understood the effort that I put out. He understood the core of me, of what was important to me. So he was ecstatic that being able to have this new thing for me to be able to do. So anyhow, so what I'm sharing with you is that we all have stuff. We all have it. And, you know, we have to overcome that. You know, we may be shy. I'm generally, believe it or not, I am a shy person. So I do have to gut it up at times and do things that are making me uncomfortable. But those are the things that I relish in the most. I get such pride and joy out of doing things that is tough for me. You know, that makes me be able to grow as an individual. So your core of yourself is what's important. You need to understand that. You need to understand what is important to you and what isn't that important to you. You know, you need to understand what is really, really, really makes you tick. And so I think understanding yourself, giving you time to understand yourself is very, very important. The next is focus on the story of your entire life beyond the crisis. Whoa, that's a big statement. Understanding the story, your journey of your entire life, but beyond the crisis. You know what that's telling you? It's telling you to look beyond where you're at today. Look beyond the horizon as to where your life could possibly be. Can you imagine what you could accomplish if you believe in yourself? If you can look beyond where you're at? It's amazing to think about your path and where you can be. It's amazing to think about what journey you can endure and where you can go and who you can meet and what life you can touch. You know, change is constantly happening to us. And so it's very, very important for us to be able to embrace that. So that is very, very important. I loved that comment because I thought that was so very, very important. This one here, I think, is really, truly important too. And the reason being is because I do this all the time. It's lean on your trusted friends, your trusted family, your counselors, those who really know the root of you and that will not judge you. I do this all the time. I have wonderful, wonderful friends out there. I probably have great friends versus family members because family members tend to sometimes, I'm sorry, my phone got right here. But family members sometimes they know you too much and they know your path too much. You know your where you were, your journey, and so they know that sometimes they will make judgments on you. Not always, but you have some trusted people in your life. Those people, the ones that don't make judgments on you, the ones that will hear you, they will listen to you, but most of all, they will guide you. They will tell you straight up what they think, maybe offer you their assistance, maybe give you an idea of where you can maybe move forward. You know, coaches are so vital for this. You know, we're in a new generation today. We're in a new place today where we've got a lot of change that happens to us very, very quickly. And sometimes it's hard to grasp hold of some of those changes. And so we have some wonderful coaches, life coaches, transitional coaches, divorce coaches, just if you want to build up your own strength from either within or your exterior, there's coaches for that. We have a wonderful array of professional people that can help you maybe get to maybe the next level that you need to be at, or just be a sounding board for you. So there are people out there that you can trust, that you can tell your journey, to, that you can tell how you're feeling. But believe it or not, when you do that, not only do you release what is pent up from within you, because sometimes we have to be able to share our journey. We have to share what's going on with us. We have to kind of like give our insecurities over to someone else so they can sort those out to, in our mind's mind, and give it back to us. They can sort it out and say, okay, well, you feel this way. Maybe if you look at it this other way. And sometimes that helps to create a whole different path for us. So don't hesitate leaning on someone else, leaning on a friend, leaning on a family member that will listen to you, leaning on a coach or a counselor that will, someone that doesn't judge you, and that they can get down to the root of what really truly is happening to you. Because a lot of times, as we dig down deeper within our lives, we see that some of the stopping point where we're at now currently was really created in the past. And so those are the issues that we want to be able to overcome. The next one is find motivation from your outer strength. So I thought this was kind of interesting. They go on to talk about, feeding your body healthy food, get the sleep that you need, walk in nature, and most of all, really getting in shape, because I think that sometimes we get our strength from all of these things, right? We get our strength from eating good food, putting into our body instead of putting in some of the bad things that even though we love the taste of, but they're just really not good for our bodies. And then how many times do you go without sleep? I can tell you that is big on my agenda. My father's been ill, and so I've been at the hospital and back and forth and trying to do what I could do. And then, so sleep I'm realizing the importance of that. And then also being in touch with nature. Some of the nicest places that I have been is when I have walked in a park, a really nice park, or I've gone to the beach, and you have that solitude there on the beach and the waves going and the nature going. You can really get into tune to yourself because so much noise is happening around us, right? And so sometimes when we can get into a quiet place and we can get into the nature, we hear the birds singing, and we hear that going, the chirping of things going on around us, we really get to a softer place in our life, right? We really start to be able to think and unwind and try to figure out where we're going. And most of all, we do want to build up our strength when we're working out, because as we move forward, we're going to find that we need those muscles in our body to be able to continue on. And we want to be able to have that type of strength to be able to live longer. So there's a lot of elements within our body that are really, really vital and important to us. I mean, my father has lived to 86. He's done more than probably one person on earth can do. And he's lived a wonderful life, but he's still strong within his means. So, it's amazing to see that it truly is. The next one is make real attempts to be surrounded by positive people and an atmosphere that makes you feel good, energized, and motivated. Get away from those Debbie Downers, those poo-poo people. Get yourself with somebody that not only understands you, but lifts you up in life. Who wants to be with people that are negative and tells you can't do something? I understand that there's maybe times in your life when somebody needs to be real with you and maybe tell you a little bit of the way it is, but poo-poo on telling you can't accomplish something in your life that you want to accomplish. I had a family member just go off on me years ago, telling me terrible stuff about my passions in life, that I should just get a secretary job and I should just work and that's all I should do. Just work from 9 to 5 and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You don't even know me. If you did, you wouldn't be telling me this. So don't let someone else steal your dream. Don't let them steal your passions. Don't let them take from you what you are destined to become, you know? So if someone is negative around you, get away from them. You don't have to be mean to them. Just get away. Get away. Put boundaries up in your life and tell yourself, I'm important enough to withstand those boundaries. I need to have someone positive in my life. I need to have someone uplifting in my life. I need to have someone that believes in me. That's the real being of it. And so have those type of people in your life. And the rest of them, love them where they're at and move on, because you can't change the world. You can't change the way people are, but you can change you. You can change your environment. You can make that movement of choice to be able to go forward in your life. And that's what's so important. The other one is keep a feel-good folder of emails, letters, compliments, and remind you how fierce you are. I thought this was kind of interesting. I used to, years ago, I had a dream that I wanted to, I wanted to build a house, or I wanted to, decorate and stuff like that. I wanted to really have a really pretty house. I wanted to have a house that looked like it came out of a magazine. I had this crazy thing. So I got one of these accordion binders, right? And I divided it up. It's like I must have had too much time on my hands back then, but I divided it up according to the rooms. And I used to look at magazines, and I would dream about having this beautiful bedroom or this beautiful living room. And I really started picking out things I loved. And I put them into each of those categories. Well, believe it or not, my when I was married, my ex and I, we built a home. And we actually built a couple of them. We had one in London, and we had one here in the United States. And I used that binder to go back and look at some of those pictures, the things that I had really liked. And I used some of those color schemes, and I used some of those things. But the reality is not necessarily the fact of what I did. It's the fact that I dreamed. And I kept thinking of what I wanted to do. And it made me positive. It made me uplifting. And some people would have said, well, you're never going to have a house that you could do that. You're never going to have the money to possibly do that. But I did. And we had a beautiful home in South Florida. And when we sold it, I think, to the first person. And you know what they said to me? It looked like it came out of a magazine. And I mean, it was a well lived in house. I mean, we no doubt it had its things, but it was decorated beautifully, and I loved it. I loved the house. I loved everything about it. But it was a creation of me. It was a creation of what I wanted to achieve. And you might be listening to that thinking that's kind of funny or crazy or off the wall. But the reality is it made me feel good, and creating that binder over the years made me feel good. So it took me out of some of the difficult times I was having. And believe me, I was having them in my marriage. And so it took me out of that, and it made me focus on something else, something I could actually maybe possibly make a change or contribute to or do something different. So it took away from that negativeness, and it brought something into positive, and it also created a dream for me to be able to establish. So I thought, you know what, that's pretty cool. And so when I read that, I thought, you know what, I get that. I totally get what that is. But also what they were saying in this too, and if we want to take it a little bit further, what they were also getting it with is that if you have any letters or emails or things that people have said to you over the years, and you have it in writing, you should keep that, because there are times in your life when you could feel down and out, and you could read those and they could be uplifting to you. And so, if you do have any of those, I would certainly do that. Or if you have a business and people are commenting about your business or whatever, that of course will make you feel good too. Next one is carve out time to do that thing that you are really good at. How many times do we do things in our lives that doesn't make us happy, right? Doesn't give us joy, but there are some things that we're really, really good at. I'm a good connector. I love connecting people. And so I'll tell you another thing that I kind of enjoy doing, that I'm pretty good at doing, is painting walls. So a lot of my friends, if they move into a house and they need to have a wall painted or a bedroom painted or something, I'm always happy to go help them paint. And everybody always goes, oh, no, but I kind of like that, being able to take a wall that maybe is kind of scuffed up and yucky and paint a fresh coat of paint on it. It's just something new and fresh about that. So I kind of like that. Some people are very good writers. I have some very good friends that they write beautifully. So easy for them. It just shoot, 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 and they write, and you read it, and it's like you're there. My ex-husband was like that. He could write. I always thought he should write some sort of travel blog or should do some sort of travel book, because when his writing, you could read it and you think you were in the room. You thought you were right there, right in that space. And that's a very unique talent, a very unique skill. Singing, we've had some people on our show that are singers. I think Elizabeth was on, and she's absolutely marvelous. Crafting, Trisha is now doing crafting, and she's selling some of her projects, which is pretty cool. Working on cars, if you enjoy working on cars, is another one. Skiing, anything that makes you feel good, that is good about your, allows your body to have freedom, allows your creativeness, anything like that. Carve out time to enjoy those things in life that you enjoy doing. Another thing I used to do years ago that I love to do, people thought I was crazy. I would go to at Goodwill or any garage sale or whatever, and I used to pick up china cabinets. And of course, they're very big, right? But I would pick up cabinets or whatever, and I'd sand them and I'd paint them and I'd do all kinds of things, and I'd give them away. People love them. But I used to do these unique painting techniques on it, which I love doing. And so the thing is, it's not necessarily what you do, it's the fact that you love doing it. And it brings out a whole nother side of you. When we can, express our joy, if we can express a talent that we have within, that's a beautiful thing, and it raises our vibration up, and it puts us in a whole nother level. So it's absolutely marvelous. The next thing is do something meaningful in your life. It says meaningful in the meantime. Wait a minute, let me get this right. Do something meaningful in the meantime, as time will keep passing away. Okay, so what they're saying is do something meaningful. If something is important to you, do it. If you say to yourself on your bucket list, well, I'd like to take a writing class, go take it. Experiment, step out of your box a little bit, right? Do something totally different. I think classes are very, very important. And I also feel classes allow us to be able to step maybe into something else, right? So often if we take a class, for instance, years ago, I took a business class. I really enjoyed the business class. I use a lot of the skills today in my own business because I took the class. So I found something that I kind of enjoy doing. The other thing is legal. I remember I enjoyed a lot of the legal stuff. And when I took my real estate exam years ago, I passed every single legal question they had in there because I was very good at remembering that kind of stuff because I enjoyed it. So take a class. If you haven't taken one in a long time, go look up some different things that you might enjoy doing and take a class. And it might spur something else that's within you. There are things you meet people, right, when you're taking the class. Volunteer, do some different things. Just step out of your box and do something different. If you thought about creating something, then create it. If you thought about finishing and getting a degree, then start doing it. Whatever you want to do, it says be constructive and your heart will strengthen while you're not looking. And I think that's true. I think that as you're growing as an individual, you start strengthening from within. Your core starts to get developing on what is important to you and what isn't important to you. I remember years ago, I used to be so obsessed with a clean house, making sure my house was so clean. I wanted to make sure my kids didn't get sick, and they were always so dirty, bringing in dirt. And I mean, my sons would bringing pockets full of dirt. I said, why are you bringing in dirt? That's supposed to be outside, You empty out their laundry and you've got all this dirt everywhere and everything. And I used to collect rocks, so I can't say anything. I'm sure my mother would be very, if she's alive today, she would tell you stories of how many rocks she found in her dryers. And so, but the thing is that when you're doing something, when you're doing action, right? When you're having action in your life, you're creating something, and it creates a mindset, and it helps you to move forward. So whatever you're experiencing today, you won't have it tomorrow if you continue with that movement of choice of going forward. And so it's amazing. So do something constructive, because it'll take you from this place to the next place. And we don't know where we're going to end up, because it's just evolving. It's kind of like a snowball, right? It's going down the hill. It just keeps on moving. It keeps on propelling. But you have the choice of what direction it's going to go. And it could just blossom into something so wonderful. So that's the great part of it. The last one here is develop and nurture your spiritual connection to a higher power, a purpose greater than this. And I so believe in that. I do want to start a show. If any of you are listening out there, if you'd like to be on as a guest, I would love to have you. I want to call it Going Solo, Walking in My Faith, because I so believe that we do have to develop and nurture our spiritual connection, whatever that might be. And I'm not going to make a statement with regards to anything other than that. But I think that we are all touched. We all have a purpose in life. We all have a destiny. There's all things that we're supposed to go through. And I've often said, I feel for myself, I believe in God. And I feel that oftentimes He's opened a door for me, but I decide I want to go through the window. So I make it far harder on myself than necessary. So the thing is that if you believe in your spiritual connection, if you can get tapped into what you truly, truly believe in, it will raise you to that high power. It will raise you to what you're supposed to be able to do. The other thing, it broadens and strengthens you from within. It helps the core of who you are. And most importantly, it also helps all the people that are around you, because it motivates you, it lifts you up, you radiate, and you move from within. So I know that this show was supposed to be something totally different. It was supposed to be, hey, Terry, I see you down there. It's supposed to be, and I was on another thing reading it, so I'm sorry I didn't see you, but it was supposed to be about chicks talking about, doing different things and about some of our passions. And I wanted to share with you today some of my passions. And I feel like I'm coming apart here, but I do feel it's very important to develop and grow our inner strength. It is truly, truly something that we have control over. And so many times in our life, we have no control over things, right? So why not grasp? Why not take advantage of what you do have control over? That's what I say. So anyhow, this is Cece, and this show was supposed to be about chicks' passion. You heard about some of mine. I'm Cece Shatz. I'm the doyen of relationships, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. If any of you would like to contact me, my email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And if you'd like to be a host on the radio station, if you'd like to be a guest, we would love to have you. We have various shows, various hosts, and we'd like to have you here on our platform. So this was a lot of fun today. I have my Going Solo with Cece is going to be starting next week. I have a wonderful guest, so I'm going to keep you posted. We're going to have I'm going to start doing some marketing with regards to that, so you guys can get it out. But you are going to love her, absolutely love her. And thereafter, we are going to continuously have some really good guests. So I'm excited about that. So next week, we're going to be right back here on this platform. We're going to be with Chicks Passions, and I hope Bella will be able to join us. And bless your heart, I know you're probably out there thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to kill me. And I am. No, I'm not. I understand things happen, and y'all have been patient with me. Also want to give you an update. My dad's doing much better. He's he's holding his own, and he is home. So I'm very happy with that. So I am pleased with that for sure. But Terry, I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving me your love sign, because I love you guys very much. And I've missed being on the channel. So I hope you guys will join us. Well, this is Cece Shatz. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And this is Chicks Passion. So I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.